On Christmas Eve night, and every service here at Resurrection, halfway through the service when we have an anthem or some 3-minute segment where everybody's going to be seated the whole time, we ask the ushers to come forward. We say, at this time, we'd like to invite the ushers to come forward. They're going to hand you the attendance notebook. If you would please sign in and let us know that you were here, we'd be most grateful. And as you're signing in, take a look and see who's sitting next to you and welcome them by name following the service. On the left-hand side, there's information for our first-time visitors, and we'd like to invite you to help yourself to the brochure that's there. Take that with you. It's a welcome brochure. And then please pass the notebooks back to the beginning of the aisle so the folks on the other side can see who you are. Now, non-religious people don't want to give you their name and address. But here's the thing. I just told the person sitting next to you to look and see who you are when you pass the notebook. So now I'm in a dilemma. I have a bit of a quandary because I don't want you to know my name and address, but I don't want the person next to me to think I'm a rule breaker. And so 99 out of 100 people will sign in. And then people do greet each other by name after the service. They pass these back and see who's sitting next to them. Then after worship, I'm going to tell you how I did this in the first 4 years as a church, and then a little of how we do it today. After worship, we tear off the blue as guests and the white as members. We tear off the blue forms, and we look for all the first-time visitors. There's a place on here where they can check first-time visitor. By the way, these are flat, which means that we can carry about 15 or 20, so an usher carries quite a few, hands them to the people. We don't put them in the row and then hope they pass them. We hand them to them to make sure that they do pass them. Otherwise, half the time they don't get passed. So then after worship, we take these and we look for the first-time visitors. In the first 4 years, this was one of the most important things we did to develop this church. So I just want you to know this is so important that every single year we're going to tell the same story. So I would, in those first 4 years, look for the first-time visitors. The first couple years, there would be 3 families per weekend who would visit for the first time. I'd go home and I'd have lunch with my wife and kids. Then I might take one of my kids or I might go by myself. And I would go out. Can we bring the house lights up? I'm going to step down from the chancel. So I would go out to deliver coffee mugs. So let's see. Let's come over here. You all were kind enough to sit on the front row. Connie, how are you? Quincy, Illinois. All right. So I show up at Connie's house, and I ring the doorbell, and Connie comes to the door, and she has this mortified look on her face like, oh, man, I should have never given you my name and address. And I say, hey, Connie, don't worry. I don't want to come in. I just wanted to come by and say thank you for visiting the church today. We were really honored that you came. This coffee mug is a sign of our welcome, and I'd like for you to have that. And here's our brochure, our newsletter. It'll tell you more about the church. Do you have any questions about the church? And if Connie said no, I'd say, well, I just want to say again what an honor it was that you came, and I really hope you come back next week. It'd be a privilege to be your pastor. Connie, God bless you, and thank you very much. And the coffee mug's for you to keep. And that's our 20th anniversary coffee mug, so there you go. So, how long did that visit take? 60 seconds, roughly? Maybe 2 minutes or 3 if she had a question. So it doesn't take very long to do this. It took more time to get to her house. Now, when Connie shows up the next week at worship, though, having met her at her doorstep. Now, if she wasn't there, I leave a note inside the mug with my phone number, if you have any questions, and our newsletter, and I put it by the garage door because people around here don't go in their front door anymore. They go into the garage. But if she was there, I know what she looks like now. The next week when she comes back and she walks in the door, I say, Connie, it's so great to see you back today. Thank you so much for coming. Now, if I can call her by name on the second visit, she's going to join the church. And the reason is that most people don't come to faith in Christ because of your excellent theological arguments. It's important that you know how to make the case for your faith. That is really important. But most people come to faith in Christ because they feel love. Most people come to faith in Christ because they feel welcomed, because at least they come to the church because they feel welcome and loved and cared for, and somebody took the time to know their name.